Are you paying attention, everybody? This podcast was created to proliferate common sense takes regarding politics, religion, healthcare, current events, conspiracies, and whatever other topics you've been told to never mention at the dinner table. The purpose? To enlighten our fellow citizens of the propaganda being pushed in this polarizing time period in the never-ending battle for your soul. This podcast is not aligned with any sect, denomination, politics, organizations, or institution. We do wish to engage in every controversy under the sun without endorsements or oppositions to any causes. We are the four discoursmen: Wesley, Pastor Benny, Greg Hugh, and me. Artie, the one-man party. Thanks for your time, energy, and, of course, attention.
Professor Stephen Hawking, before he died, gave me his last television interview, and he said that the biggest threat to the future of mankind was when artificial intelligence learned to self-design. What do you think the biggest threat to mankind is?
Narcissistic compassion.
Narcissistic compassion is a manipulative, performative behavior where individuals with strong narcissistic traits exhibit caring, empathetic, or altruistic actions solely to boost their own ego, image, or control. Unlike genuine empathy, this self-centered kindness is used to gain admiration, justify abuse, or create dependency. It's often a tactic to manage impressions where the person presents themselves as a savior or victim to gain sympathy. When Jordan Peterson speaks, I listen. I consider him one of the great minds that we have in this generation. So when he tells me this could be the biggest existential threat to humanity, I'll listen. Now, I never really heard or knew about narcissistic compassion, so I looked it up. And that's the definition. And damn, did it resonate with me. Am I going to say it's the biggest threat to humanity because Jordan Peterson says so? No. Am I going to say he's wrong? No. What am I going to do? I'm going to focus in on myself. I was recently at a family gathering not too long ago. And when the check comes, the check comes. So last family gathering, I actually had miscalculated the tip. So I asked someone in the party a question of what % are you paying nowadays for tips? Because it always seems that every time I pay, the choices for tip usually start at 18% and go up 20, 25%. And I'm a little old school. I usually say 15% or maybe even double tax. Not to mention, if you pay with a debit or credit card, they even put it like a 3, sometimes 4% surcharge. His response was, it's not even that. He said what's worse is when he goes to Starbucks and he gets a coffee and he pays at the register, they'll flip the screen for him to pay and they put a 15 or 18% or 20% option for tip. And he's like, it seems like everybody wants a tip these days, which apparently, unfortunately, triggered one of the younger people in the party who responded, well, these people, they live on tips. They need these tips to survive. So I'm not sure why everyone's getting upset about tipping. So then I responded, well, that is unfortunate and all, but hopefully now that we got this no tax on tips going on from the new administration, maybe that'll help them out and all. And then they responded, triggered again, saying, well, what about all the Medicare cutting the premiums and stuff that's going on in the world? He's cutting premiums. So then I was like, okay, I got you. I didn't know narcissistic compassion, but that's why it resonated with me. It's like this person is not actually genuinely worried about the tips. They're upset about everything. They are weaponized. And considering the event and everything, I took it. I was like, okay, well, it's good for you to share. and took the high road. The waitress got a good tip. Rightfully so. That's why I said in my previous monologue, it's so important to figure out the purpose over opinion. Are you saying what you're saying with the purpose of actually a solution to the problem? Or are you saying something to socialize? Are you genuine or are you trying to socialize? Some people, the younger people, this generation has been sold a lemon. They feel, we'll call them the Mandami generation. They feel entitled. They have took the toxicity and ran with it. Let me explain. Being a father to someone in this generation, this really hits home. So I kind of look back at it now and see what they did, my opinion. They started off with, at a young age, bullying. That was the big thing. Everyone's a bully. Sometimes I would even be critical of my child about certain things when we were studying for spelling tests and stuff, and just to try to motivate him and stuff. And he would say, "Stop bullying me," or "That's bullying." So it seemed to be like they really got. And I was all for the bullying. The bullying thing, even as me and everyone else here on the panel would agree that was a thing growing up. But you had to be tough. You had to accept it. Now, could you have changed it for the better? Probably. Is there some trauma for there? Probably. How you channel it, that's the discipline. With the personal devices, with the video games they play, it kind of created, like, for these generation, like a virtual world. Then they put into these safe spaces, and now these people, this younger generation, basically has their own virtual prison. The handlers have put them in. They give them all these options. They say no one can tell you that you're a boy, you're a girl. They give them all these options instead of leadership. They say, here you go. No one can bully you. No one can tell you anything that you don't want to be. You can identify as this. You can identify as that. You can be this pronoun. You can be that pronoun. No leadership. No accountability. They put these people in this protected world and sabotaged them. Gave them too much responsibility too early. Basically isolated them from me. Basically isolated them from their parents. And if your parents now, if you're not on to this, you need to get on to it, because this is where it starts. Narcissistic compassion. This is where it started. Thank you, Jordan Peterson, for putting a face on the enemy. No one goes outside anymore. They hit everyone in this COVID pandemic, put all the kids out of school into a remote virtual world where they were basically off to their own devices. They can think whatever they want, and no one can tell them otherwise. And if you accept what they sell you, you get an A. Participation trophies for everybody. Zero accountability. Anyone tells you different, they're the enemy. They're the fascist. They're the misogynist. They're the homophobe. They're the transphobe, whatever they call those things. There's a lot of phobes out there for these people. And then they sell you a mamdani. Free this, free that. Everybody, get what you want. This is the biggest robbery ever. These rich people, they're the ones calling you all the names. They're the ones who really put you in that box. They're trying to label you. They're calling you this. They're calling you that. You're no label. You can be whatever you want. Don't let them tell you what you are. Parents, keep your head on the swivel, because this is the new rig. This is their game plan. They put these people, our children, our younger generation, into this virtual box. And the only time they want to get out of it, narcissistic compassion. That's when they come out to discuss all their things they think about in their mind while they're playing these imaginary video games. this virtual world of theirs. They share these. Again, when we're all young, we're all imposters. While they figure it out, they can be anime, they can be an avatar, they can be a lot of things because these people, the handlers, they want these kids confused. Because once they're confused, oh, get an A. This is what you need to think if you want an A. Narcissistic compassion. That's the new alcohol. That's the new, let's sneak out, go have a couple beers in the woods. Let's pass a joint. Nah. Narcissistic compassion. Let's talk about all these ideations we have and see who comes up with the best story. And if you speak negative on this story, if you don't push their agenda, you're the bully. Now, let me say this. This isn't only narcissistic compassion to young children. They just got it now, the game plan, much more refined to the kids. You see this throughout life. Not on the mass produced like they are in the younger kids, but you see it with these protests, these ICE riots. These people, they're not happy. The handlers don't want you happy. They want you the opposite. They want you angry. They want you weaponized. Faith-based, fear-based. Like I say, two options. And I'm not saying all the kids are narcissistic, compassionate people, but they've all been exposed to it. And once you're exposed to something, you get desensitized. Or you get, shall we say, tolerable. Like, look, these Epstein files we spoke about the other day. Lots of crazy stuff out there. People go, okay, where are the riots there? They'll riot for the immigrants. They'll riot in ICE. Where are the riots there? Like I said, they give you little bit, little bit, little bit, little bit, and you get desensitized. And now it's like, oh, okay, we already knew that. Blah, 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 blah. Let's see what happens next. But no riots. No riots at all. Insane. The kids is too busy looking for free stuff. You know, they're too focused on their pronouns or this and that. The adults in the room, oh no, I don't want to be labeled a misogynist. I don't want to be labeled racist. I don't want to be a fascist. So they kind of keep quiet. And the handlers love it. Their narcissistic compassions, they love it. They just can now speak. Instead of going out for a drink, now they get to socialize. Now they get to complain. Is it genuine? I don't think so. Not if you're a narcissist. Who's right? Like I've said, I really don't care if I'm right. What I do care is getting it right. Everything isn't a hoax. Most is. Everything isn't a psyop. Most is. What your responsibility in this is, find your own truth. Find your own purpose. And make sure you're happy and it's faith-based. Otherwise, you don't stand a chance. There's an old saying that says men bond by teasing each other and not really meaning it, and women bond by complimenting each other and not really meaning it. Isolating our youth, putting them in these virtual worlds or safe spaces has basically ended that banter for both men and women. Not good. The feminization of our education unions, of our corporate America, the lowering of the testosterone of our children, of our boys, not going outside, putting them on an island. Women, more empathetic. And of course, lie to bond. There you have it. Narcissistic compassion. Right there at our doorstep. The perfect storm. Narcissistic compassion. Fake empathy is now on the menu. And what I recommend, don't order. Now, by all means, we're not trying, or I'm not trying to bash women the day before Valentine's Day. We love the ladies. No one's perfect. Progress, not perfection. And AYPA isn't for the low testosterone folks, but all are welcomed. Okay, so staying in that vein, like I said about this show now is no longer for the low testosterone. I wanted to touch on a little bit of last week where we got into some like verbal fact checking, shall we say. So I just want to give a genesis about where I come from in that, where I like it. And like I said, men, we bond by giving each other shit and then we laugh about it. Women, like I said, they kind of lie and compliment each other and bond by that. So it's all fun for me. So I hope and I reached out to all the other people to try and make sure it's cool because again, where we grew up, we were all 50 plus. I just want to go back to where this comes from. It's there was no fact checking. You didn't have Google. You didn't have the internet where you could just look up facts and get to figure it out. Oh, we'll just Google and get the answer when people disagree on stuff. So it's a lot different back in the day. We didn't have cell phones. Everything we would have a couple beers, maybe be at the bar, and we just start talking about sports or something, and then someone would disagree with someone. So when that happened, and I mentioned to Wes, like, yeah, this he'll probably understand this. Like, there was two words that came up, and that was how we fact checked. Anyone care to guess what those two words were? And it's not bullshit. It was
That's
bullshit, and then what was the two words? Yeah, bullshit was the first, and then what was the next two? I'm not trying to trip no one up. How much? That's how you fact check back in the day, right? How much? What do you want to bet that you're right, and what do you want to bet I'm right? That's where that genesis for my fascination with being factually accurate. Would you agree, Wes?
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
I mean, you could say whatever you want because back then the fact check you had to literally, if it was like say home runs, you had to go to the baseball card and find the baseball card or something like that. So whenever anything was going on with certain people disagree, the only way you would get the truth, like the first fact, the two, okay, we'll let it slide. But then when the story starts going, how much you want to bet? Do you have any of that in your history, Greg?
Oh, yeah, for sure. For
So
sure.
that's where that comes from for me. And I know it comes from Wes. If he wants to collaborate on, that's all that is. It's just we don't have Google, and that just that emotion when I got you. Put your money up because
That's right.
if we were fact checking last episode,
Money
we
amount.
would have
Yep.
exactly put your money. That's where it comes from for me. So it's all in good fun.
Hey, Artie, on that vein, I mean, like you said, no one's going to get their feelings hurt here. And I saw a funny exchange online earlier in the week where someone was talking about our generation and basically said, look, I come from the generation where we used to play a game called Smear the Queer. We would throw a ball up in the air, and whoever caught it, everyone else went and jumped all over the guy. So, we're built a little different than these newer generations.
Yeah, we were outside more. We weren't
Yeah,
in that,
for sure.
like I said, that whole like online stuff. But I would say, and I think Wes could agree, is like now I'm kind of in the virtual world a little bit because I don't get this to me is kind of going outside a little bit more.
Right.
I know you're doing the jujitsu and stuff, so you have physical contact and stuff, and you're doing things, which is probably great. You even said it's therapeutic for you. This
For
is kind
sure.
of my going out. So thank God we don't fact check like that anymore. Greg, we might have to set up a GoFundMe for Greg Hugh after the last episode. But no, I'm all kidding aside, I did mention that I did invest some money in silver today. So I wanted to get into the markets a little bit, talk about that, and then see where that leads us. So anyone got anything about markets and stuff, or you want me to just go why I decided to invest in silver?
I guess congratulations for taking the plunge. I mean, it took you long enough. You should have been in at like 20. But in any event, I mean, silver closed today up like $1 and change, like $1.75 and change. Like, so it was like, I think it closed around 77.80 or something like that. And gold's up another $100 today. Very turbulent to get involved in the metals because there's just so much information out there in general. And obviously, some of it's true and some of it's not. I mean, that's up for every investor to parse through and to make decisions on their own. But buying the metals is there's many ways to do it. I mean, you could buy the actual physical metal, or you could buy paper. My preference would always be to actually own the metal, but to each their own, and everyone has their own reasons for buying. Artie, continue on with what actually you bought. Did you buy paper or did you buy like metal?
I bought the ITF, I think SLV. got it around $70. So my theory, or what I had said to you, was the rig is the rig, and with silver, I mean, look at it the last few weeks. If people that layman on the metals and stuff, usually they don't move that much. They kind of stay stable. The silver actually went from 70 to like a 120 in like a week, and that's
That's
like
true.
years worth of movement. And then once
Yeah.
that happened, everyone was like, "Oh, silver this, silver that." I knew all the shorts and all the people in that were going to rig it down. So what they did was the powers that be, I call them the handlers, they started raising everyone's margin requirements for silver to bring it artificially down, because there's a lot of shorts in that thing. So literally the thing went from 120 back down to 80, 70, like the whole
Well,
run. It was like
Artie,
one,
to interrupt you, you know why they did that, right?
what?
They did
What do you
that
think?
because
I
they
have my
didn't. Well, I
opinion.
can tell you why. They did it because they didn't want people to run on the bank and cash in their paper silver, because they'd never be able to deliver on the metal.
Right. It's called spot
So,
pricing. Now,
right.
I'll listen.
No, continue. Go ahead. But that's why it happened. The rig is because the bankers were on the short end, very much like the GameStop stock years ago with Robinhood. The stock kept advancing because they had to continue to cover their shorts, which is what happened here with silver. But the reality with the metals are, with EV and with solar panels, is that, with each car that's made, there's 2 ounces of silver in each automobile, and as electric vehicles become more popular, and they're pretty popular now, you see them all over the place, but I mean, they're going to become even more popular moving in the future, because technology, it's going to advance, and these vehicles are going to get better, and it's going to be a real alternative to gasoline, and that's silver by itself, every 2 ounces for every automobile. How many and that's without solar panels, that's without cell phones, that's without dental equipment and medical devices. Silver has a lot of industrial use, and when you speak of a global shortage,
There
obviously
you
you're
go.
gonna
That's
spark
what I was
you're
getting
gonna
at. You
spark
said,
some fears. You're gonna spark fears.
so, Greg, what do you think of the silver trade?
Honestly, this is way beyond my area of expertise. I've got a managed portfolio that I don't do
Right,
too
right.
much with, so I defer to you guys on this for sure.
Well, what about, okay, so let me break it down a little simple. So what's going on with silver is with the inflation, right? You basically
Sure. Yeah.
inflation, I mean, we could say what caused inflation, not, but ultimately the bottom line is it comes from printing money. So the more
Yeah.
the money that gets print, money used to be backed by gold and silver, no longer. But people are trying to now do tokenization and stuff with crypto to back it with actual metals.
Mhm.
And the silver market itself, Wes had alluded to, is in a shortage. Like all the silver, if they needed it, it's like 5 years behind. So what's going on right now is, which we'll touch on, is the United States government now created Project Vault. You familiar with that?
I've heard the name, not
It's within the
familiar
week
with
or
the
two.
details. Yeah.
Project Vault is now that the United States is going to build a vault of precious metals. All right. China has their own critical metals and stuff and that stuff. They just added silver to their critical metal list. So they're not going to give it out anymore. They're like the biggest producer of silver and a lot of these critical.
They stopped shipping silver. Period. They have to go through an
Yes.
authorized dealer to get silver out of the government of China.
I did read that. I did read that.
So basically the silver trade is like right now with Project Vault. And what happened was, the rig is the rig. What I mean by is, a week or two ago, whoever said that the United States will not set a floor for rare earth minerals and stuff, metals, meaning they were going to come in and they were going to guarantee to get people to produce more. They were going to start putting a floor price in for these metals. So once they said that that wasn't happening, the whole rare earth and these metals, that's also what helped all these metals drop. Then last week with Project Vault, the United States says, no, we are going to have a floor. So now whoever said whatever was bullshit. So now they're going to put a floor. What's been going on over the years is a lot of these big banks have been shorting silver. There's huge amounts of shorts in the silver. So
Amen.
they need, right? right, Wes?
Absolutely.
So
Absolutely.
there's huge amounts of shorts in the market. See, what we have here is what Wes was alluding to was you have a people ask for silver. There's paper and then there's spot where you have to actually deliver. It's future contracts. A lot of the paper market is all future contracts.
Yeah, when you see
Right now,
silver traded on the when you see unless you're looking at the commodities market, all those derivatives, the paper that he's talking about is based off of the metal price. But there's a difference between paper metal and physical metal, and paper metal is like an option. It's a promise to deliver, and the paper gets traded. The silver actually never trades hands. Physical, you actually take possession and ownership of that metal, and you can use it as leverage moving forward as like an asset backed loan, if you will. If you wanted to borrow off that, you could do that. That's permitted, but you can't do that off paper shares. So
so Greg, like commodities, pork bellies, and you got all these
Mhm.
different commodities. They're all future contracts. Basically, there's a futures contracts. That's what a lot of the silver is for the paper. But then you actually have to eventually. Same with oil. There's prices and stuff. So that's basically what it is. But the actual physical delivery in Taiwan is like $100. But right now it's trading in the paper market like $70. So there's a huge disparity, and anything with markets tends to eventually work itself out.
Understood. Understood.
So, do you think that markets in general, it's good for the government to get involved? So let me also set the table here. So if you have a floor, if the United States says I'm going to set the floor at $70, $80. Now, do you know what shorting is and going long
Yeah.
company stocks are?
Yes. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
So if you short a stock, basically you're betting on it to go down.
Correct.
Correct. And your maximum upside for shorting a stock or shorting any type of asset is zero, technically, right? Where the long upside is forever. I mean, technically, right?
right, the long's infinite.
So
The
if
short is you're stopped at
yeah, you
zero.
can go to
Yeah.
a billion. I'm just saying this is theoretically, right? You follow me?
Yes.
So if the United States says $70 is the floor, the shorts, what can they do? They can't short it to zero. They can't bring the price down more than that. So basically what all the shorts, and it's a huge amount of shorts in the market, are trapped. So you're going to see something again. Markets are forward looking. This is manipulation. What's going on right now? It's very if you're looking at and paying attention. That's why I said the silver in markets in general. This is like a chance of a lifetime. We'll see. Well, like you're going to see something happen here because once I realized that the United States government was going to step in, and this is not normal, right? I did also mention, right? Do you like
Definitely
that they're
not
buying
normal.
Intel? Do you like that they're buying MP? Does it bother you from your background that the United States is now buying companies? Does that give you like a social? I don't want to give you answers. A
Yeah.
socialist feel, or what
It
do you?
bothers me. It does. It worries me that the federal government takes ownership of the means of production, even if it's not the entire means of production, but they start having their hands in it because they have a lot of levers they can pull
Right.
to make things successful or make things fail.
Right.
Absolutely. Right. So as a trader, though, the rig is the rig. Do you see why it would be maybe advantageous to own some silver?
For sure. I mean,
So
So here's the
am I
so here's
wrong?
the thing.
I mean, the same.
So,
Go ahead. Go ahead.
so here's the thing. It behooves the government to buy silver, and it's not. I know that it's fashionable to think that the government's trying to screw us, and I'm for that. But I think that the government take a position just for a purpose. It's not just the financial one. It's for the things that I just mentioned. Silver has a lot of industrial use as well as I guess financial use, we can call it. It's not only is it in EV cars and solar panels, all these devices, but you have this massive ramp and race to perfect and own AI, which requires massive amount of centers and massive amount of and other than gold, silver is the next best electricity. Plus, it's like it's not road, so you don't have to worry about breaking down. It's very durable long term, and they need this to build these data centers. So for the government to take a position in silver, it's a strategic one. It's not just a financial
right.
one. It's to beat China to the AI race. in my
So
opinion.
if it's
Anyway.
if it's for national security interests, that's what they're labeling it right now. It's always the money, though. It's also for financial. Do you support that? Right.
I mean, I certainly can see value in our government, for lack of a better term, hoarding silver and hoarding gold and buying silver. I mean, a lot of governments are buying gold right now, right?
Right. Well,
Correct.
Uh,
China's definitely upped it, and I know you
yeah, I
want to
mean,
support it.
China,
I think there's
India,
a
Russia,
difference.
they're all buying gold. Yeah.
Yeah, I think there's a difference between the government buying precious metals and the government buying companies.
Like
Uh,
Intel, exactly. So does it bother you that they bought a 10% stake in Intel?
I mean, I think it's concerning to some extent. I think we need to, yeah. I mean,
Does it give you a socialist? I'm not trying to trip you up. I'm just
yeah.
qualifying. But does it give you a socialist ring?
I mean, I don't know if it's certainly, again, it's heading in the direction of our government owning the means of production, which is,
Because
Yeah, I mean
I
that's
mean,
one angle to take. That's one angle you can have about that. But I mean, the other thing is, again, we come back to China being the number one enemy, well, opposition to the United States. And if our chip production remains in Taiwan, and we see what's going on in the news with China circling Taiwan, the military exercises. Basically, they're going to invade the day Trump is gone. In my opinion, they're not going to do anything until
they
Trump
might.
is out of office. But you know, in the end, this is just I almost want to call it a bribe to for the people of Taiwan to bring this, you know, basically to move. That's what's really going on. They're moving this technology from Taiwan to Arizona at Intel headquarters, and Intel's getting juice from the government to do it. I mean, it's I there's
yeah,
a
no,
I
no,
mean,
I totally see, I totally see that. But I guess my question would be, do we need to buy ownership stock? Can't we come up with other incentives? Can't we, enter into different types of partnerships with companies? I mean, we do it with
Yeah.
Raytheon and Boeing.
Yeah.
I think
I feel like
I agree with you, but I think this is an existential threat to the United States, and I think the only reason why that the United States government has bought that type of stake in Intel is really just so they can, I think, fast track it.
I always look
In
at
my
both
opinion,
sides. I always look at both sides. So let me ask you this, just breaking it down fundamentally. If China bought 10% of Intel, would that bother you? Greg?
um,
oh hell yeah! If you're talking to me,
sure,
absolutely.
No, not you.
sure,
I'm
sure,
asking Greg. Okay.
yeah,
So
yeah.
you
But
would disallow that then, right? Because I know you're a free market guy and everything, and I just want to totally get
I mean,
your
yeah, I mean,
stance
I
on it and stuff,
certainly,
because I totally
that would be a
understand.
concern. That would be a
And,
concern.
okay, right. So with the markets in general and stuff, and with this thing, there's a lot going on behind the scenes that I've kind of connected the dots I want to touch on, because free markets are free markets and all that. And I'm against socialism. And when I first started, I thought it was kind of socialist of it. And I don't know. Obviously, I always try to give Trump the benefit of the doubt. So I try to look at what's going on, and I did little research. Are you familiar with mercantilism? Right.
I mean, I'm familiar with the term, but tell me what it means.
I'm going to tell you. I got it right here. Put you up. Mercantilism, it's back in the 1800s, 1700s. Mercantilism is an economic system that emphasizes maximum exports, tariffs, and minimizing imports to increase a nation's wealth, primarily through government regulation. Basically, what they did was they invested in their country, and then they shared the wealth of the investments with the people. No income taxes. So you have tariffs, and then you have, that's why, if you notice, Trump created a sovereign wealth fund. You familiar with that?
No.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
Yes.
You know that, Wes?
many other countries have like
Yes. All right. Good,
uh,
Pastor Benny.
yeah,
Take the reins. Explain.
yeah, yeah, like
Because it's all going to make pitch clear by the
Hello,
end of this
Pastor
conversation.
Benny. Hello,
Oh,
Pastor
yes.
Benny.
I'm
No,
learning. I'm learning.
he wants
Yes,
in on tariffs. But what you know about the sovereign wealth fund? You want to give your
yeah.
2 cents on it?
I think in all the Middle East countries they have it, and some European countries also have it, where they take care of their own people. So that's why, like Norway and there are some countries, Saudi Arabia, and when Libya was good, they also had like tons of money. They save and store all their money, and then they take care of the people.
Well, this is proceeds. Like, for example, they take some of the proceeds from oil sales and pump it back
Yes,
into the people in the country. Yes.
yes, yes, yes.
Yeah, and I mean, I know how your brain works, and I know you're curious, so you look into it a little bit, right? Before you start, right? And you'll see that it's a way that a country can get rich through its ma um, manufacturing and stuff.
Are we
A-
still talking about tariffs now? Or are we talking
Well,
about
it's all combined.
Gotcha,
It's
gotcha.
all one big. It's like
Well,
people
here's the thing.
compartmentalize.
In my opinion, with tariffs, the difference between tariffs and taxes, right? In my opinion, a tariff is something you pay in advance, and a tax is something you pay when the item gets sold. So, like for a Chinese product to come into the United States, they're paying the tax. They're just paying it in a tariff form. They're paying it in advance, and that's versus taxes. And that, in my opinion, that's how it works. I mean, I know, like if with the tariffs, it's not a it's not at the point of sale. That's why the prices are adjusted at the register, and it's to disincentivize you to buying that item and to buying a non-tariffed item, which would be American made and less expensive, which would be the same with these chips, right? Because now Intel is an American made company, so there's no tariff on any part of it, and we own all the intellectual property, and we don't share any of it with anybody, and that's the way it should be.
And these investments are not going to the government; they're going in the sovereign wealth fund. And what they're going to do is they're going to like you think of it like this, Greg. You know, like Harvard has a huge what do they call that thing? Endowment.
Endowment. Yeah.
Right. That's what he's trying to do. That's what these guys are trying to do. And you know where it really comes from? It comes from Hamiltonian economics. You familiar with that?
Sure.
Okay. Hamiltonian economics was started by Alexander Hamilton, and that's what George Washington. I figure you love this stuff. That's what he wanted this country to be: all tariffs, all manufacturing, all isolation from the rest of the world. The globalists, see you later. We're going to build our own country from within. So the tariffs get everyone to invest in this country. Then they're going to get jobs, manufacturing jobs, other stuff back in this country. You're going to have a sovereign wealth fund. And I know you weren't a big fan on tariffs, and I know you weren't necessarily up to date with the whole income taxes getting done.
Well,
getting
again,
eliminated. It was a kind
I
of
would be open. I would be open to tariffs if we didn't have income tax, because then
Right.
it would offset the higher prices that we're paying for goods. Right.
Right.
Well, I know.
Yes, but yeah. I mean, kind of yes, but the thing is that the best way to introduce it is to blend it, not just to just shut the spigot off and flip a switch. I think the best way to do it is to blend it in so he can show everybody. It's like, it's putting your cards on the table and putting your money where your mouth is. He doesn't have to sell you into this economic. I guess it's not an opinion. This economic vision of his, but he'll show you this. He gets to show you the success as he's telling you about it.
Right. And I understand that theoretically, but on the ground level, right, we're paying higher prices for most goods right now.
It's not from tariffs. I don't want to.
Not if you're buying. Not if it's American. Not if it's American made.
Well, that's true, but we don't make all that much.
Well,
yeah,
again,
that's
tariff,
true.
Greg believes that we've gone in as tariffs raise prices.
Well, I
totally
mean, I don't just believe that. I mean, there's plenty of third-party data that shows that that the people cover up to 90% of tariff costs.
You're right.
No, that
You're
that
right.
was
You're right. No, they do, because here's what happens, right? So the tariff gets hit on China. China has to pay it up front. Then that price gets reflected in the price that comes back to the consumer. So the United States has already been paid, right? If the consumer doesn't buy the item, you don't pay the tax.
That's true.
Also, and let me take this because I think you guys are both off. And I said this earlier. When you pay a tariff, right? Like, think of this. Your biggest customers, are you going to pass the price along to them? Probably not. You're going to push it off. No, you're going to push it off to your smaller
honestly,
ones. You're not going to change the price.
I'm passing the price to everybody.
Well, you're not going to. I mean, the CPI came out. The CPI came out. It was very low. It's the lowest it's been in 2021. Okay, so where's the inflation? Where's the higher prices? Okay,
right.
Supply and demand affect prices more than cost. If Greg Hewlin goes to
correct,
West Coast goes to the home, and you're not going to go to like, oh, I paid more per gallon to get to your home to pay gas, I'm going to charge you more. No, these are not significant. When you're making 80% profit margin or whatever, and now you're only making 70%, you're not passing 10% off to keep the 80. They're eating it. And it's the importing companies. See, that New York Fed thing, I looked into that, the 90% thing. It's all the importing companies. It's not necessarily France paying, I agree, but the importing companies are the ones paying that price. It's not the customers. Unless you want to tell me, again, specific
Marty,
examples.
I'm just telling you what third parties, taxfoundation.org, JP Morgan. I mean, these are companies, these are foundations and third parties that are saying up to 90 to 96% of tariff costs are borne by the consumer. Because if you're a Chinese company and your price went up, you have to pay more to get stuff into America, then you're going to increase the price to offset some of that.
I think that's basic economics. Honestly, it's the thing is, it comes back to the same thing. When Joe Biden turns around and says corporations need to pay the fair share, corporations will never ever. And we're not even talking about countries and tariffs, but in general, corporations will never pay their fair share because those costs are always filtered down to the consumer.
Always.
Well, let me ask you this, Wes. Then let me ask you this, because I think you're misreading it. So, all right. I charge you a tariff 10%, but I lower your corporate income tax 15%.
How are you lowering the corporate income tax of a foreign company?
What? Right. No. Trump lowered the corporate tax rate, like he cut it in half. There's other ways he did. So I mean, that's what I'm saying. You think that all right? I'm a businessman. I something increased. I can't get it back elsewhere. I'm going to lose my clients because I'm increasing the price. They're already making a fortune. It's out. Look.
Yeah, the other way is liberal thinking.
I wish it was that simple. Oh, they raised the price, the tariffs up, and it's not that. They're eating it. It's okay. And most tariffs.
That's not true. That's not borne out by data.
I watch the sport. I watch CNBC, all these channels all the time, and all the price things all say they're eating it. Walmart said they're eating it.
CNBC? Why are you watching CNBC?
I know. I watch Fox News
Can we
I watch it all the time. I mean, I'll send you all the information.
Can we circle back to Intel for a second? Because I have a question for you. If the U.S. government owns a stake in Intel, would you be in favor of preventing people in Congress from buying and selling Intel stock?
Yeah. Of course.
I'm in favor of Congress not being allowed to buy stock.
Yeah.
Yeah. I like that.
That's something I
Forget
think
Intel. Forget Intel.
But obviously you recognize the conflict of interest, right? We start buying companies, we start having a say in companies. Next our politicians are getting even richer than they already are.
Totally, but you have to acknowledge national security. You have to not acknowledge national security.
Of course.
Actually, I'll go further. I mean, I don't mind if the government owns it and it's in their pension, I'm fine with it. If they don't own the government, and for example, like they know that there's going to be a defense contract from, like you said, Raytheon, and then Nancy Pelosi buys calls, buys leveraged stocks options before the announcement. That's what I'm most against. That's the real crime.
Yeah, that's the dirtiest part.
The government's involved and it's disclosed, and fine. I don't mind that as much. I still think they should be investing in anything. If they were to buy the Intel shares, Greg, before the government announced that they were paying for it, that to me is really where the rig is the rig.
Yeah.
That's where they've been making all these fortunes. That's why you have Nancy Pelosi outperforming like Warren Buffett and everyone, right?
It's all rigged. It's all rigged. It's all rigged from the metals to the market.
They know exactly where the policy is going and where all the government funding is going to these companies, and they buy the stock beforehand. That's insider trading. That's why what's her name, Martha Stewart, she went to jail for that. They all do it all the time.
Every single one of them do. Hold on, look at the other guy, that Republican, Dan Crenshaw. Look at that guy's stock portfolio. Disgusting. That guy. There's no way that guy doesn't have a hook and know what's coming. No way.
Marjorie Taylor Greene made like $20 million or something.
Yep, they're all dirty.
Yeah,
they're all effing dirty.
I'd rather the government actually participate and then give some of that to the taxpayers.
I just wish they were honest about it.
But going back to the sovereign wealth fund, I was just looking at the top 10 countries that have sovereign wealth fund.
Yeah.
If we call ourselves a capitalist country and we're not in the top 10 in the sovereign wealth fund,
Right.
there's something's wrong.
Because we're
Yeah.
not a capitalist country.
But the
It's
thing
only
is,
it's a fugazi.
No, no. Because when we are a capitalist country, that means we know how to make money. But when the nation does not win with the people, then it's sad because
Well,
you're using a platform just to make yourself rich, and before you know it, you'll suck everything out of it, and there won't be anything left.
that's
but
what
what do
they
you?
did. The only people making money are really politicians. How do you go into a job making 125, 175 grand a year? You're there for 4 years, 6 years. You walk out, you amass a fortune of 20 million. How? How did that happen? It's
And then
not by luck.
and
It's not
and
because you're a genius.
and it's not even that. They've talked about it, like Mike Johnson and certain people. They've asked the leadership in Congress, will they get rid of that? And they're like, you know what? That's part of the perks of being in Congress, right? You saw
Hillary
that
Clinton.
comment.
Hillary Clinton said when they left the White House, they were flat broke.
Well, that's other things. That's
They,
trickle. I call that trickle down economics. That's
well,
not
hold on.
investing.
They were so
That's
little.
pay for play.
Artie. Let's say they were so broke that they stole the silverware or the artwork or
Yeah,
the
well,
furniture because they did, and then they were ordered to return it. But now look at their fortune that they've amassed.
yeah.
How?
Well, then again, that's a totally different. To me, that's
Clinton
off topic.
Foundation.
Yeah, that's the Clinton Foundation. That's pay for play.
Yeah.
That's not investing and stuff and buying stuff.
That's
I even respect this. They're so
That's
crooked,
insider
so
trading. No, it's
dumb.
insider trading, and it's actually controlling the market. They didn't inside trade the market. They controlled the market.
Well, markets are markets, right? So that's why I don't believe in fair or free markets. There's no such thing.
No
So
such thing. There's
unfortunately,
money manipulates
yeah,
the market.
exactly.
Period.
So the whole libertarian, like free markets and all that stuff is great on paper, but it's just not realistic, unfortunately. I
It's a
would love it.
fallacy. It can't be real.
Yeah, it doesn't scale. I used to tell my your former predecessor. So it just doesn't scale. It would be great in a vacuum. But free markets are not free. They're rigged, and everyone's got to get a kickback.
It's like
In
gambling on a sports game. The games are rigged too. The question is are you with the rig or are you against the rig? Because you can still make money betting on a rigged game, whether it's politics, stocks,
well, yeah,
or the
yeah.
Dallas Cowboys, let's say.
That's why I said in my previous monologue, I'd rather learn the system and profit from the system than change the system. Right. That's what these people, our handlers, do. They know the system, and you got to go with that system because it is, believe it or not, we're system quarterbacks. This is the best system out there in the world. So accept it.
Audie, they're
Up,
not
and it's
they're not
not
following the
perfect.
system. They make the system. They're making it.
Yeah.
They're steering the wheel.
Yeah. So I just, like I said, what was it? Bush and them trickle down economics. Hillary's trickle up economics. I mean, basically Bush and Reagan, they even said it, trickle down economics. We get rich and then we'll trickle it to you guys.
Dude,
That's a
I
system.
hate I hate that we have to put those two people in the same sentence.
Yeah, but you can all invest through autopilot.
So, Greg, I want to get to
George
you.
Bush is
Tariffs.
garbage.
Can I ask one more Can I ask one more
Ask
monetary
many
question? Picking your guys' brain. Did all this start when we got off the gold standard,
1970s and stuff.
1971?
Yeah, with
Was
Nixon,
that
right?
was that where
Yeah.
things started going south?
Well, it depends
Yeah,
on what you
because we
consider
made a deal.
south.
What happened was we made a deal then with Saudi Arabia, and we tied our dollar. We switched. We took off the peg of the gold standard, and we went to the oil standard, the
We went to the
petrodollar.
petrodollar, basically. Yeah.
So at that point, we pegged our dollar to gasoline and petroleum, and basically that's where our alliance with Saudi Arabia comes. They don't even really. I mean, they do have a military, per se, but really we're their guardians, and
Yeah.
that's why the rest of the world hates us because we control OPEC. OPEC is really like. It's a charade for fairness that is not fair at all. To be honest with you, we control the market. I don't know why they're so secretive about it. They should just be honest about it. We
Because
control the market because we dominate the globe, and when you can dominate the globe, I'm pretty sure you're going to dominate the oil game too. So
the rig, we all said, the rig's the rig, and we're trying to get. Let's face it, the United States is now the biggest oil producer. But when we were kids, I don't know if you know, I was told that oil came from the dinosaurs. and that it was, it was going to end up, it was going to
That's why
stop
it was
one
called
day.
fossil fuels.
Yeah, whatever,
Right.
right? And
Yeah.
I think that just gives you an idea of the education system, the stuff we grew up.
Well, but
Dinosaurs.
do you guys think we need to build a new vault? I mean, isn't there probably a lot of space left in Fort Knox at this
We
point?
do. We just
Since
did it this
since we
week.
can't
Project
audit
Vault.
our Fort Knox.
I knew you. I just
Honestly,
said.
I'm
This week we did
honestly, I'm
Project
so
Vault.
scared. I'm so scared that we find out there's no gold. I don't want to know. Don't
Dude,
open the doors. I don't want to know.
I saw
That's
an
what-
interview with Rand Paul recently who said he's been trying for almost 20 years to get a tour of Fort Knox and he hasn't been able to. That's a U.S.
He's
senator.
not gonna get one. He's not gonna get one either. And it doesn't mean, honestly, like I do think there's. I don't know that there's even any gold there, to be honest with you.
I know.
I think it's all. I think it's all the New York Federal Reserve. That's just where gold's traded. That's where countries settle debts.
Yeah, well, we'll see. I mean, yeah, I would like that. I think again, we got 1 year with Trump. He did say something about maybe ordering it Fed. So hopefully we do that.
That's never gonna happen. Do you ever hear the rumor that the Chase Bank vault is right across the street from the Federal Reserve vault, and that gold actually goes underground, and Chase gets to share like the proof that gold is in their stockpile? Like there's so many crazy rumors. I don't know if you guys have ever heard that, but
I know there's a
I've
movie.
I,
Remember what was it? The movie? I think it was Die Hard, where they try to steal all the gold.
Oh
Or
no,
is
that
it
was straight
underground?
from the Federal Reserve. That was straight from the
Ah,
Federal Reserve. But I heard that those vaults are linked. Basically, because you have the Federal Reserve on one side of the street and you have Chase on the other side of the street, and those vaults are, I believe, equal depths. And it obviously crossing the street in Manhattan's pretty tight. It's not. I don't think it's like a big. I don't think it would be shocking to find out that there's a connection between those two vaults.
maybe so. But I want to get to tariffs again. I want to get to the
Ah,
big picture here. So just spell this out to Greg Hugh. So you got mercantilism. You got us now a sovereign wealth fund investing in these companies. It's not socialism. It's actually mercantilism. We're going back to our roots. And then we're going to start with the Hamiltonian economics, strong government, get back to manufacturing. So now when you have the tariffs, you can't do all this without tariffs. So are you a fan now, Greg, of tariffs or not?
I
Do
mean,
you
look,
think that
ask me again when the income tax goes away.
okay? So you're lukewarm.
coming.
I know you don't trust that it's probably going to happen, but as far as what
honestly,
you
ask me when I get my tax return.
so so let me say this now, because now that we go into tariffs, did anybody get to watch the Scott Bessent stuff with all the senators and stuff when they really beat him up on tariffs, make bananas great again, all that stuff? Did you guys get to see any of that?
I didn't know.
Okay,
I did not.
so Bessent's whole thesis was tariffs give us leverage over the other countries, so I can do whatever I want because we are a net importer, not a net exporter, right? So what we do is more people sell goods here and than we sell out there. So we're the buyer. So we have most of the power. Most of them are selling stuff to us. So whenever there is a trade war, we have all the cards.
Well, Arnie, it's very
With
basic. You
tariff.
can just break it down and say, hey, when you go into a store, what's the number one rule? Customer is
everywhere.
always right. Customer's always
Yeah.
right.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
in the same situation, customer's always right. I mean, we're their customer.
Yeah.
Whatever,
Mhm.
Go ahead, continue. I'm sorry to interrupt you. Go ahead.
But the customer doesn't get to choose the price.
No,
Right?
this is true.
It's the United States. We're telling you the price. This is what you're going to pay, right? The
Honestly,
customer can't walk
though,
into
Arnie,
Walmart.
honestly, the customer does determine the price.
Well, market, right?
Because if the price is too
Wholesalers
high,
and other
nobody buys it, right? If the price is too high, nobody buys it. If the price is too low, everybody buys it and you sell out. And then you
Well-
have other problems, but that's a different conversation.
Yeah,
But
they go to another store, whatever. But there's a lot of markets out there. But I don't
no,
want to get
I mean,
off on that. I don't want to. I want to go down to what's going on with the tariffs. So with this, we now have leverage. So we can now set the price. And what we're trying to do is become a net exporter, not importer. There's a trade deficit. You follow?
Yeah, I'm following.
Okay, cool. So what we have, and I was telling Pastor Benny this, is we have the guy that guy that I just named,
Yes,
Scott
yes.
Bessent, who
Oh, boy.
literally can run. He's put countries bankrupt, countries with currency and stuff. You have basically, Michael Jordan. I say Trump's Michael Jordan. You have a once in a generation guy running all these trade wars. Do you know that? Are you familiar with
Oh,
Scott Bessent's background, Greg?
Not particularly.
oh,
Okay. Are you, Wes?
No, actually, let us know. Fill us in,
Okay.
oh.
please.
Do you know? You want to go, Pastor Benny? You want
No,
to
no,
give
no,
him
no.
a little? 'Cause I turned him on about a week or two ago. I'm like,
The little that I've learned about Scott Bessent, that guy is amazing. That should be like he's like a treasure, like having a great Apple company. Like, imagine if you have like 5, 6 Scott Bessents, man. India, U.S. will have the best sovereign wealth fund in the world.
well, let
Easy.
me just let me get to the gist. Well, these guys will. You guys know George Soros is, right?
Sure.
Do you know what made
I've
George
heard of him.
Soros rich? Like, what made him famous? What was his big thing?
Not sure.
Currency manipulation, right?
Well, who? Anyway, yes, that's correct. He's an arbiter. So what he did was, I don't know if you remember. Remember about what 10, 15, 20 years ago, they bankrupted the Bank of England, the National
Yes.
Bank of England. It destroyed the
Yes.
currency. Do you
Yep.
remember that? It's called like Black
Yeah.
Wednesday. That's Scott Bessent. He's the one who did mastermind the whole plan. That's him. He bankrupted the Bank of England. Now Soros and the other guy gets all the credit, but he was the one who I mean, it's well documented. Now the
Well,
mainstream
it was
media,
it was his plan and Soros's money.
he bankrupt
Yes.
plenty of countries. He made $1 billion in a day. It literally took England off the whatever. It made him go to Europe, the BRICS or whatever. That whole thing. It ruined the Bank of.
No,
I
it
mean,
turned him.
the
It
Bank
pushed
of
him.
England.
It pushed him to the
It's the most
euro. It pushed him to the.
Yeah,
Yep.
exactly.
Yep.
It's the most powerful bank in the last 200 years or whatever it is. It's even been around longer than our Fed, and it's a national bank, so they don't usually lose. He bankrupted them. So you have a guy who literally put out the Bank of England, put him under. Look it up.
Yeah.
And now he's the one negotiating with every country. That's
Yes.
why, I mean, you got Trump behind him. Okay?
Yeah.
Like if you don't know the whole story, again, you look it up and by all means check out. But the mainstream media is not going to tell you. They're going to say Scott Bessent's a bum and the tariffs are a bum and this and that.
Well, they're going to tell you. Well, their shtick is that every single person that Trump picked is a bum, and if you
Yeah.
don't know the
Of course.
person, or if you haven't done research, when they talk about Cash Patel, they talk about Scott Bessent, they talk about Howard Lutnick, or they even talk about the other guy, Stephen Miller, or Dan Bongino. They put these guys in the most derogatory terms, and honestly, these guys are and even Tom Homan. They put these guys are the most stand-up guys in our country. That's why
cool.
Trump picked them.
Well, here's the thing. I've talked to Greg Hugh about it and stuff. Google isn't your friend. They push narratives. I always say that. You have to dig a little deeper. Like he doesn't know about the Scott Bessent as the guy's a genius, a financial whiz. That's why I even put it months ago for like little burning bushes, little tidbits. Like I'll take one Scott Bessent over 100 Thomas Sowell. If again, I was hoping for some.
Greg, if you
How do
want,
you even-
Greg,
how are those even in
I
the
hope
same category?
Wikipedia.
What?
Greg, I hope Wikipedia isn't everyone's source of information because honestly, if it is, let me know because I'll just sign on and I'll change that information
Oh,
because
shit.
anyone can write what's on Wikipedia.
Guys,
Yeah,
I don't
well,
use Wikipedia.
No, but what I wanted to get with that
Thank
was
you.
97%. 97% of all news on Trump is negative. 97%. So if you Google anything
absolutely.
about Trump, you're not going to get obviously an objective point of view. It's 97%.
No, you-
So when someone wants to hate on Trump and they Google something, they send a link and they don't vet it or whatever, it takes a while to overcome that because it's
Well,
an
yeah,
article.
because you gotta
like the New
you gotta
York Fed
read
thing we heard just now.
you
That's
gotta
not
read
true.
you gotta read through 4 phony fact checks of some losers who absolutely don't know anything about nothing, and they're the ones determining that what's newsworthy or not. Fact checkers are the worst when they don't have the facts.
Unless
when
they
they're
put your
hiding the facts.
unless you put your money up. Right, Wes?
Artie, let me
Yeah.
ask you.
Yeah, about
How do you
I know
think? How do you think the Supreme Court is going to rule on tariffs?
I think they're going to go against Trump. They're probably going to split the baby. They maybe give him like a 30% win, and most of it's probably going to be negative.
And it is pretty. It is
I
pretty
disagree.
clearly spelled out in the Constitution which branch of government has the power to tax. And
No.
First
No,
it's clear.
honestly,
It's clear.
if I understand what you're saying.
let me get it first. Let me get it first, please,
Right.
because I knew this was like I can make Greg's arguments for him. The thing is this: Congress conceded that to the president. They gave it to the president. Yes, initially it was. See, that's the way you don't get the whole story. Yes, it was technically for the Congress to tax. Tariffs, like Western said something, it's not exactly a tax. Okay, it's beforehand. Now, whatever, it's a cost. But if you look, Congress gave it back to the president. Now they want to give it back. Same with the War Powers Act and stuff. There's been changes in that. If you really look, you know that, Greg, or is that completely shocking?
Where did Congress pass? Where did Congress give their constitutional authority to the president?
They seceded the part of the tariffs.
What does that mean? They seceded part of the tariffs. They gave
the power to the president in cases.
They did
in certain cases.
In certain cases,
and that's the whole thing.
Look, this is
you're talking in general.
In certain cases, but just like in certain cases, they gave the president the power to bomb a country without declaring war. But still, the Congress is the only one who can declare war.
Hold on. Which president they give that right to?
They've given that right to a lot of presidents, actually.
Yeah.
And just to be clear, they were on both sides of the line, right? So both parties have enjoyed that line.
For sure. Absolutely.
But again, like tit for tat, you know what I mean? Like, I'm not interested in stuff like that.
Since World War II.
And you know what? Is it really that important?
I mean, what do you mean? Is it really that important? We had a lot of guys die in Vietnam.
Yeah, during 9/11, do you think we really needed Congress to give us I mean, isn't that asinine? Isn't that totally asinine? We ended World War II for less casualties on Pearl Harbor.
And Pearl Harbor.
I don't understand what your point is. I mean, they went to Congress. They got congressional approval after 9/11.
They did get congressional approval, but I mean, like in general, like I believe that when the bombing started, they didn't have a declaration of war.
That's true. That's true.
They did it. I mean, you got the War Powers Act. I don't want to get into the whole thing with war because we're deflecting from the whole tariff thing. Where I want to get this whole thing like buttoned up on the same thing, right? While we're going to war, don't take the bait. Just you keep the man on topic.
Sorry.
Yeah, right. We're talking about tariffs. And I assure you, just like the filibuster stuff, that Congress has given the rights to the president. Or why would any country pay it?
Yeah,
the president.
Why is it going? That's why it's going to the Supreme Court.
Right. The Democrats only seceded to him because they wanted to play both sides.
No, I mean, tariffs have been a thing.
They wanted to pay. Anyway, that's
guys. We'll know. We'll probably know by the end of February. We'll know what the Supreme Court rules by the end of February, hopefully.
Well, they've been prolonging it. That's why I think it's going to be like a 50-50. I think both sides are going to get.
But how do they split that? How do you envision that happening?
It's got to be 70-30
or something.
Okay.
What I'll say is this: they've already got
percentage-wise, because put it this way, with the tariffs. Let me ask another question going to the tariffs. So if the Supreme Court determines that what Trump did was unconstitutional and somehow they split this, then that would mean that some of this money has to go back as like a restitution.
Maybe
for sure.
No, here's the thing. I mean, he's already said we have other options if we lose the case. We'll just word it differently. That's all. It's semantics. That's
right. We're not giving the money back. Basically, is what he said. It's going to happen.
Yeah, and it's not going to happen. But it's going to affect the markets. It's going to affect a lot of stuff, and we all have money in the markets and stuff.
Artie, what do you think would happen to gold and silver? What do you think would happen to gold and silver if the Supreme Court turns around and says the president has no authority to issue tariffs?
I don't. Like I said, it's just theater. I mean, It sucks. We're in a very volatile market, so the markets move. Trump can say one thing and you lose $1 trillion in the thing, right?
Yeah,
so,
I feel like you guys are a little bit short-sighted, and I say that with respect because I have a lot of confidence in Trump. I think he's got good intentions, and I think he's got good feelings most of the time. When it comes to business, I certainly trust the guy. The reason the president doesn't have this authority is because we might have a fucking President Kamala or another fucking brain dead Biden, and we don't want those guys fucking 100% controlling tariffs, right? Wouldn't that be terrifying?
Well, it would be. It
it-
would be, but I don't believe that any Democrat would impose tariffs
yeah.
because no Democrat has the balls to do anything about nothing. They just blah
But
blah 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 blah, and they do.
I
wait, wait,
can
wait, 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 wait,
definitely,
wait.
I
Hold
can
up, hold
definitely
up.
see, I
Let
can
me say
definitely
this.
see Democrats tariffing like European, majority white countries.
Yeah, well,
The
again,
Democrats don't do nothing. They just talk a good game, man. That's all they do.
but that's the point, though, right? So that's what I was trying to get at earlier with the whole
No,
filibuster. Should we end the
the point
filibuster?
is to keep us. I think the point is to keep us safe and
That's
be
what it
in.
says. The tariffs are there for national security. It's under
I
national
agree.
security. That's why
100%.
Trump is able to do this because he feels it's with the deficit of $27 trillion, with all the things going on, that this is something of an existential crisis to the country. These
I,
tariffs. That's
I
how he's putting it. So if you like, instead of just reading, like the 97%, that's where their argument comes from.
yeah.
Well, but
Right now,
I think that argument loses steam when you have Trump say things like, "Hey, I got a call from the Prime Minister of Switzerland.
Right.
He was mad about the 20% tariff. I didn't really like the way she was talking to me, so I upped it to 29."
no,
I
I
mean,
know.
You don't
it's
like
hard to
that?
make a.
I
love it.
didn't
love
say I
that.
don't.
That's the
I
part
didn't
I
I
say
love
I
it.
love.
don't. I didn't say I don't like it. I
I
said
love
it's
it.
hard to make the
That's
case
the
that it's a
part I
national
love. What are you
security.
talking about?
It's hard to make the case that it's a national security issue
Oh, that's
on things like
Greg.
that.
That's
Well,
the
now,
part I love.
can I
I
say
love
something?
that.
With Trump negotiated with India with all these tariffs. It came out like India does like $100 billion a year export to U.S. Now they have to give up to 25% in tariffs. That means the U.S. is making just clean 25 billion for nothing that they were not making before. They were like before it was like 2 to 3%, and for the American products to be sold in India, before they used to have like 30 to 70% tariffs. Everybody was making money from U.S. sales to different countries. Now it is 0%, 0% tariffs.
yeah,
So they have negotiated made very good deals. So now more American products can be exported to India and countries like that after these negotiations. Like, like for iPhone. iPhone was 50% more expensive when it was sold. So there were a whole bunch of people who could not afford iPhones in India. Now, with 0% tariffs in India, everybody can buy it. So it made it more easy. Now there will be more sales
yeah.
for American products.
I think you're short side, Greg, here a little bit because you don't realize that they charge us tariffs. The other
Yeah,
countries.
every country charges tariffs.
Do you know that,
Yeah.
Yes, of course,
Greg?
of course.
Okay, so it's all right for them to do it to us, but we can't do it to them.
I didn't say that.
That's your
India
logic.
used
Well,
to
that's
charge.
what you just said. You like it's a tax, but they
No, I
do it to
didn't.
us.
India charges 30 to 70% prior to this negotiation. 30 to 70%. That's a lot of money.
Greg,
And we were charging only 3%.
Greg, just
That's-
look up and see how many Harley Davidsons are sold in India.
Exactly.
So I mean,
Exactly.
that's all. That's all Trump. That's how
Exactly.
Trump sees it. He sees you're doing it to us, but we can't do it to you. Why are we fighting with our hands tied behind our back? And then you got Scott Bessent who's gonna ruin your currency and totally
Right.
screw you over
Honestly,
any which way
the
you
game-
want. You have to
The
take it.
tariff game.
You want
the
America
tariff
first,
game.
right, Greg? You want America first. What is
Yes.
more America first than that?
If you want, the thing is this: if you're Italy or England or France, if you don't want tariffs, it's very simple. Don't impose tariffs on the United States.
Yes.
And you want
That's all he wants.
You want
Exactly.
tariffs.
That's what Trump. That
That's all
that
we
is
want.
ultimate.
We want
That's the messaging. If the
flat
mainstream
playing
media,
field, so the field is flat. That's it.
if that's what the mainstream media, they don't put it like
Yeah.
that though. That's exactly all Trump wants.
Well,
That's
but if
how
that
it
was the
should be.
case,
He
if that
wants
was the
the free
case, then,
market, and then you what?
if that was the case, Trump would just match their tariffs, and that's right.
That's what he
No, he
reciprocal.
exceeded
That's what
their
he did,
tariffs, so
reciprocal
they would
tariff.
be. No, he exceeded it, so they would be more inclined to drop them. Because in all honesty, Greg, he knows they're not going to zero. But if he can knock that tariff in
Absolutely.
half, that benefits the United States. Does it
India
not?
went to zero.
Yeah, some countries did drop their pants. Not every one of them do. But you take advantage of the ones that do, and you fuck. And pardon my French, and you take what you can get.
And hold up, and to Greg Hugh, because he was all upset last week about, and rightfully so, that about Trump's with the whole regime change, and Trump said this, and then he whatever. Right?
I
What's the
wouldn't say
thing
I
with
was
Trump?
upset, but that's
Well,
my
whatever you
position.
felt. Yeah, you said
Yeah.
that you want a regime change, but like you said, or what I was, how I look at it is, if you asked him the exact question, well, if Iran has a huge riot and all the people revolt against the Khomeinis and they start shooting their people, would you consider regime change then? Then that's totally different. So my point is, just like you agree, 70 to 30% you want to agree with, that's always been your thing. People are allowed to change their mind when facts and evidence change. And that's all that happened there. So one of the things with
100%.
tariffs,
When
and I
evidence
know,
changes,
are
you're
you
entitled to
familiar?
be able
Yeah,
to change your mind.
don't get out of my way, Wes. So what does taco mean with Trump? Do you know what the term taco means with the tariffs? Do you know, Greg?
Trump always, what is it? Trump
Chickens out.
always chickens out. Yeah.
See, that's the game he's playing. That's all. Everyone knows it, so you can't get too caught up in all of it, right?
Yeah.
He's going to do what's best, giving the information and the dynamic. He's not going to tell you what he's going to do beforehand. He might, that's what the art of the deal is, right, Wes?
That's his art of war.
Right.
Exactly. Art of war. Even better.
Guys, my point is
it's
just
winning
this.
the war without firing a shot.
Exactly. Just like he did to
strict
Maduro. Just like he did to Maduro.
Guys,
Just like he
I'm
did
a
with
constitutionalist, so
Maduro.
if we're gonna do tariffs, if the executive branch wants to do tariffs, it should go to Congress and get Congress on board with the tariffs. That's the way the system was made to work, right? And that's probably why that's the way it was made to work, and that's probably why the Supreme Court is going to overturn his tariffs.
Well, let's see what happens.
You know what? Greg, you know
no, hold
why.
Hold up. Wait, hold up. It's 4:25, Wes. You said 4:30. It's 4:25.
I thank you for the heads up. I appreciate
it. I don't want to. I don't want
I
to
can
get
go.
you
I can
caught
go
up.
a little bit longer.
He's got Valentine's
I can go a little.
I don't want. I know you get caught up. I'm just giving. In fact, I'm just giving you a heads up. It's 4:25.
Yeah,
and we got to say a
it's
prayer.
an important day. Today is my Valentine's
All right,
Day.
so
It is not Saturday. So,
right.
in any event,
so yes.
If you want to say, spit it out.
No, forget it, Artie. Keep going.
No, whatever.
I love
as far as the Constitution, what's more important to you, the Constitution or the Bible? I'm asking Greg. Bible, Constitution. What document's more important?
What document is more important? I mean,
you say, it's in the Constitution, like in anything in life. If it's in, like, you act like the Constitution's like the Bible. Is it more important to you than the Bible, or not? I don't know. What do you mean it's in the Constitution? What do you mean? So
the Constitution is the founding document of our country, right?
And what was referenced in the Constitution? The first words in it. Where did they get their power from?
We the people.
We the people.
No, God. He talks about.
God we trust.
Well, our rights are ordained by God, and governments are put in place to protect those rights.
So, so what I was gonna say was, Artie. And Greg, the reason why Trump went the way and didn't go to Congress was because, in all honesty, he doesn't have. 50% of the Congress, they hate his guts. To be honest with you, they're not going to support it.
No doubt, you're probably right, and he probably wouldn't have got anywhere. But that's also
he wouldn't have got anywhere.
That's why the Supreme Court is probably going to overturn it.
Well, let's see what happens.
I don't think so. Honestly, I disagree. I think the Supreme Court's going to give, even though it's not going to be 100% win to Trump, I believe it's going to end up in his favor. And it's because, honestly, they can't undermine the president of the United States, whether it's Donald Trump or the guy after, or if it's the next Democrat. Listen, these people are elected. Sometimes you have to play dirty when you're playing with the world. And we can't be constrained all the time. Good.
Deal. So, Greg, if the Supreme Court rules in Trump's favor, then it's not in the Constitution, the tariff thing? Are you saying that the Supreme Court will be the arbiter of whether it's not in the Constitution?
Well, the Supreme Court is theoretically the highest,
court in the land.
Highest court in the land. Yeah, they're the ones who interpret the Constitution. So right now, the Constitution says the Congress shall have the power to lay and collect taxes, duties, imposts, excises, yada, yada, yada. They're going to be the ones to interpret that to figure out is what Trump is doing constitutional or not. So I'll defer to the Supreme Court.
Greg, hold on. you.
You're breaking up, Wes.
To the last. Am I really? I'm sorry. Am I better?
No, you're good now.
Yeah,
You're
you're
good.
better. You're better. You're
Okay.
better. Yeah.
So,
Spit it out.
so what he learned from this presidency to the last is you can't always telegraph which pitch you're going to throw. You can't play ball with people who don't want to play ball with you. So sometimes you got to throw some haymakers. You got to throw some shit against the wall. So you got to make this. You got
That's fair.
because that's the Democrat problem. That's the Democrat punishment for Republicans. It's the process. It's the punishment. It's the fact that the Democrats will take you to court and take you to court and take you to court.
Oh yeah,
Lose.
That's what I was gonna.
But it's $1 gazillion dollars.
Right.
And it's
Exactly.
No doubt.
And honestly,
Look, you're just
played
you're
these
just
games
saying the
before.
system is broken, and you're right.
Right. Depending on what judge you go to, you'll get a different thing.
Yes.
It's only broken because it's Donald Trump as the president of the United States. It's the only reason why it's broken.
The system was broken long before Trump came into office.
Well,
No,
I'll
this
say
system's
this,
been
and
going on for a while.
No, wait. I'll say this. Trump exposed how the system can be manipulated.
Yes.
That's what he's done. I wouldn't have thought that the judges would change this. I did not know all this stuff. And that's why I am so grateful for the guy. You can disagree with him or whatever. He has exposed so much. And if you're thinking the same, like Greg might have been this way 30 years ago, I'm now seeing that everything's rigged. You know what I'm saying? I don't have any faith in any of these institutions anymore. And that's I want to end with this. If your mindset hasn't changed since Trump got in office for the last 8 years and seen all the corruption, like Greg Hewitt posted something about the FBI spied on Martin Luther King, right? On Martin Luther King Day, I saw that post. You didn't mention that they spied on Trump in real time.
Yeah, of course.
This
I
whole
know.
thing.
And,
all right.
And hopefully people are going to go to jail for that.
I hope that would be great. But if you could say what you want about the guy, but the guy has exposed a lot.
Look, he
I
got totally railroaded. I hope they go to jail for Russiagate. I hope they put people in jail.
I think we should do a. I think we should do a
I
poll.
agree with you, Greg.
If we should do a poll, if we can get Trump another term, that would be fantastic.
Greg Hewitt would have a heart attack. It's not in the Constitution.
This is not in the Constitution,
It's
gentlemen.
not in the
You'll have
Constitution.
to let No, it's not the Constitution,
I don't-
right?
And I wouldn't want him to have a third term. I think 2 is good. I
No.
don't think he's any
Yeah, I agree.
special more than anyone else. If you could get an amendment or something, I guess, but that'll never happen. I wouldn't be against it.
2 consecutive.
But there has been other presidents who've done more than 2 terms, right? But that was, I think they changed the rule, right?
Yeah. Roosevelt.
Actually, no, it's not in the Constitution, 2 terms. It's not. Actually, it's not in the Constitution, correct?
Artie, do you realize what would happen?
I'm pretty sure it's been.
Do you realize what?
No. George,
Dude.
it's not, because George Washington stopped after 2, and everyone set precedent. He set a precedent, George Washington, by stopping after the 2 because it felt like it would be a king. Correct. No, I'm 100% on
It's
this.
true.
He
It's
did.
true, yeah.
Then what happened was FDR during the war did something like 3-4 terms, and he was literally dying, and then they changed it, they amended it. But no, it's not in the Constitution.
It's an amendment to it's the 22nd Amendment.
But so it's not in the Constitution then.
Well, it is in the Constitution. It's not in the original Constitution.
Now what you're going to split hairs? I mean, when you meant the Constitution as it was written, right? It was. Oh, so now, so if they amended it, then it's okay.
Well, the Bill of Rights is amendments to the Constitution. Does that count?
What do you mean? That was written with the Constitution, no? I thought it was written with the Constitution. Yeah.
This is why it's the First Amendment and the Second Amendment. These are amendments to the Constitution, right?
Yeah. All right. Yeah. But it wasn't voted on, right? Isn't it? It was like 10 free amendments, right? Wasn't it?
I'm not sure how many, but yeah, you got a handful.
The first 10, the Bill of Rights. Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, Wes, I don't want to get you any heat. Great job, fellas. So
thank you very much.
You have any more time, or we're good?
I have a few more minutes.
So real quick, because I mentioned something about oil at dinosaurs, and the first 2 things we learned about when we were children, I learned about, I remember, is dinosaurs and astronomy, planets and stuff. Two things I don't believe in anymore. And Greg Hewitt talked about maybe age of disclosure. You want to give us a minute or two to talk on that? Your
Only
thoughts
if you
and stuff?
guys,
Sure.
only if you guys, did you guys have a chance to see it?
I don't need to. I know all about that. That's what I'm an expert.
Of course you are.
So,
I have
I'm telling you, I watch
I
all
have
that
not
stuff.
seen it.
All about aliens and stuff. All the Hector Elizondo. I know all those people. I saw a little thing, so I know all the.
Let's. I would say if we're going to do one more topic, maybe we hit on Pam Bondi's testimony in front of Congress. What did you guys think of that?
I didn't see. I only saw the highlights.
Yeah,
So,
I get the headlines. It looked very theatrical, to be honest with you.
Well, all right. Since we're talking about markets and since we're talking about Bondi and stuff, her main thesis was that if all the Epstein files came out, the market would crash. I want to ask Greg, who has money in the market, would you be for a market crash for the Epstein files to come out?
I'm not sure I even agree with her.
All right. Well, I'm just saying.
I'm not sure. I actually thought the quote was something like, if everyone in the Epstein files, if all the Epstein files came out, the system would crash. Or, you know, the
market would crash. That's
You
Trump
don't
has
see
said it
how that
himself.
would
Trump has said it himself, and she was basically, reinforcing what he said.
So I think
my
we're in a
question
very
to you
precarious.
is put your money up. Are you willing, if that was this is the option, if Epstein files or the market, what's more important?
I mean, that's a pretty precarious position for a country to be in.
Well, all right, I agree. But if that's the case,
either we go after child predators or we lose our stock market. I mean, what kind of options are those?
But Greg,
that's
what
the
if they
option.
want?
Are you saying Epstein wasn't involved with Bitcoin? We talked about all the high rich. Bill Gates is one of the richest.
Absolutely he was.
If for you to be shocked that that's a possibility, if they're saying it, what? I'm asking you, if it was to save the market, because the economy wins you an election, and if your 401k got cut in half because of all the Epstein fallout, would you be happy with it? Would you be like, great job, fellas?
Certainly, I wouldn't be happy if the market crashed.
Okay, so you would rather, and for what? I mean, are these people even going to go to jail and stuff? Now, again, I'm not minimizing all that stuff, but I'm saying that's what she said. Why these things are redacted and stuff. There's a lot.
I know, but that's all. That could also be a bunch of bullshit to protect people she wants to protect. Theoretically, it could be, right? She could be full of shit.
No, she's not full of shit because every rich person's involved. Peter, I don't know if you know the big players in the markets. You got Peter Thiel. You got the Peter Thiel, the head of Palantir, who's basically the biggest spy company in the world, involved in the files. I mean, you have big names in it. You even told me, you sent me stuff about Bitcoin also being involved in it.
Oh yeah, yeah. Well,
all right.
I mean, luckily I don't own much Bitcoin, so I don't really give a fuck if Bitcoin crashes.
Yeah, I know, but I'm just saying in general. That will also have fallouts on maybe some other stocks, maybe something else you own. I'm just saying.
But Artie, if our government is involved in some sort of fucking child trafficking operation, isn't that a serious concern? Isn't that something we as Americans should be concerned of?
Well, again, it's been going on, and it's just not Epstein. This is 2008.
No doubt.
These are old things. You got a guy 13 years, Massey's been in Congress, and now all of a sudden this is his main thing. I mean, again, it's not like it's his first year. If someone came in, I think it's more theater than anything. Now, again, that's not a hoax. We don't want to get into that. It's real there.
It's certainly theater for a lot of It's certainly theater for a lot of people in Congress. If this was a Biden, right? They didn't do anything during Biden, and now Democrats are all up in arms. No doubt, a lot of them are taking advantage of this to try to fuck Trump. No doubt at all. But that doesn't mean that this isn't a real scandal. I don't even think Trump is necessarily implicated. I don't think he's a child predator. But I think there's a lot of shit that the American people probably deserve to know what's going on with our intelligence agencies, what kind of fucking things they're doing that might involve children, might involve trafficking women. I mean, this is kind of scary shit.
Well, what do you think the open border was, right, Wes? What do you think the open border was? They were child trafficking. There's 500,000 kids
it was child trafficking. Right.
What do you think that was, the whole open border?
Artie, I
mean,
want
you
that
don't have to
either.
look at Epstein just to see child trafficking. No, I'm not saying that you.
I don't think the open border was good either. That was fucking ridiculous.
That was child trafficking.
Sure, a lot of it, absolutely,
The Clinton Foundation was child trafficking.
probably.
Yeah, it's unfortunately now
It was all
waking up. What happens forward is what matters, right?
Yeah,
Markets are forward
absolutely.
markets. What happens forward? Do we need to know all the names? Look, if it happens, I'm all thrilled about it. But at what cost? How much money or at what consequence are you willing to sacrifice to get all this stuff out?
Well, I don't know.
Yeah, that's the question. That's what it
let's
sounds
see
like.
what else comes out.
Personally, I don't give a rat's ass anymore about the Epstein files. They're so boring to talk about. Like, it doesn't matter. Nothing's going to come out. You know why nothing's going to come out? Because what you're going to find out is that everybody plays on the same side. And it's, whoa! I'm sorry, gentlemen. I just witnessed a car accident. That's pretty crazy.
Good thing you
Oh
weren't in
shit!
it.
No, it's right in front of me, actually.
You want to say a prayer for them, Pastor Benny?
Please do. Please do.
So you don't care about the Epstein files. It's a uniparty. You have a lot of Republicans in name only, though, right? These Republicans voting against the SAVES Act. I'm not going to name names.
Hold on. Who voted against? What Republican voted against the SAVE Act?
Thomas Massey.
No, he didn't.
Yes, he did.
No, he didn't. You guys are wrong on this.
He did.
I'm telling you, you guys are going to regret saying this on the air. You're wrong on this. He did not vote against the SAVE Act.
He did. Well, no,
guys,
whatever the thing that just came out was yesterday, 2 days ago.
Yes, that was the SAVE Act. He voted for the SAVE Act. No, he didn't. Listen, this is being misreported all over the place.
Okay.
The SAVE Act, first what happened, look, let me explain it.
Yeah.
First, what happened is there was a vote to bring the SAVE Act to the floor with a rule change that allowed bills to be voted on in less than 24 hours. Massey voted against that because he didn't want that rule change. That passed because he was one of the only few people that voted against it. Then the actual SAVE Act came to the floor with that rule change included, and Massey voted for the SAVE Act. It's getting reported that he voted against the SAVE Act. He voted against the motion to bring the SAVE Act to the floor with this rule change. So now the SAVE Act passed and he voted for it, but now we also no longer have a rule that requires bills to sit for 24 hours before they're voted on. So.
Now you know what it's like to be a MAGA guy, I guess, a Trump guy. You know, all the noise was that he did that. I think it's probably bad optics.
It was all over. It was all over the place.
Yeah,
but for sure.
And then again, I think. Well, we'll get into Massey. Not today. I know Greg, you probably could clear some of the record on him.
Listen, I don't hate the guy. I don't hate the guy, but I mean, I feel like the guy's a stick in the mud. He stops the direction of water in either direction. You know, he's either. It doesn't matter. It's like whatever people are for, he's against. Is always he's me, I guess, in Congress. He just
guys. He votes with Trump 91% of the time.
No, that's not true.
He's voted with Republicans 91%.
You're going to regret saying that, Greg. Right. You're going to regret saying that. Okay. But I'm fear based on Massey. I'll say that. We'll see.
But he's definitely a stickler. He's a stickler for his ideals. But
I know you're a big fan on him, so
we'll see. That's all
I know you'll probably have a lot of good stuff to say about him, but we could put that. I'll cue that up like we did Age of Disclosure. And anything on the alien stuff, because I don't believe in aliens.
There's no way you're being serious.
Yeah,
you're not serious.
I don't believe in aliens either. I'm just saying.
I don't. Yeah, I don't believe in.
I don't believe in them.
There's a lot of evidence, guys. You should watch.
No, hold up. All that stuff's true. All that stuff is true. Oh, I believe in all that, but aliens, what you are bored on, or what the narrative is, I don't agree on. See, there's a difference.
I don't understand your position.
All right, real quick. Good. ET. What does ET stand for?
Extraterrestrial.
I believe that. I don't believe aliens. Okay, aliens to me come from from space and all billions of miles away from all these star cluster bullshits. I'm an ET guy. Now, do you need me to help you with the extraterrestrial?
No, so you're just saying maybe they come from under the ocean or they come from in the earth.
Yes, somewhere in this realm.
Okay, that's fair. I wouldn't necessarily argue with you.
And they have a demonic element.
I mean, I don't know. Maybe.
Yeah. I kind of know.
Seems like they would be fucking us up a lot more if they were evil. But
What
okay.
you don't think there's an evil demonic element that runs this place?
I definitely think there's evil demonic
Okay.
elements in our
Okay.
world, but I don't
And
know if
you
they're the.
and you don't think that the technology that we use came from there?
I'm sure. I'm sure some of we've
All right, now
certainly
you're thinking.
reverse.
Now you're thinking.
We've certainly reverse engineered technology that is not from us
Right.
or other countries. Yeah.
Yeah, that's more my vein. The aliens and all that stuff, that's the psyop. That's where they get you. They give you half the truth. So yeah. But that's why I don't watch Ancient Aliens anymore. I loved the show. I thought it was great, the pyramids and all that stuff. Giorgio Saluk. I really watched it. It was my favorite show.
Well,
Until then I started going through the whole space is fake shit. And then I realized the connection. It clicked for me, or whatever. Once you get open that door, we don't want to go that right now. You know, the whole realm stuff where I go down, you start to realize extraterrestrial is other lands that we're not, shall we say, privy to, which would be my thing.
It's very compelling. I totally agree. It's very compelling.
And then you say stuff like anti-gravity. Like, why don't they show us that stuff? Because some people might not think there is any gravity. It's a different propulsion system, but it's not. So if they gave that up, then your whole thing about gravity, what? It's just so many implications of stuff that we've been taught, like dinosaurs is oil, you know, things that would break the whole matrix up. So that's why it's kind of kept, not necessarily because of the way that they package it to us. You follow? That's my opinion. I could break it down more, but so the ancient aliens and stuff, yeah, that's really where I'm coming from. But in fact, there's many other conspiracies I don't want to get into right now, but stuff that even Greg Hugh has started to look at.
I don't even necessarily disagree with you that there's terrestrial species that we're not aware. That doesn't mean there will also be extraterrestrial species that have. I think both things could be true.
Yeah, okay, absolutely. They both could be absolutely. But like I said, I try to focus on things that fit my happiness, and when I'm more centered on faith and things like that, that's where it helps me not get caught in the weeds with this stuff. It's simple. I don't believe that there's hundreds of millions of light years away, right? That there's stars there that far. That's crazy to me. Again, it's hard because we get taught it. Just like dinosaurs or oil. You get taught this stuff, right? So it's stuff you get taught.
What? So have you ever looked through a telescope? Are you just seeing what stars are projected on the roof?
I don't have a telescope. I've seen many videos of the stuff and everything, and it's very clear. How do you know a telescope can see 100 billion miles away? You don't know the distance.
I don't know that it can.
Just because it magnifies it in doesn't mean that that's that far away. It doesn't know the distance, though, right? Just because.
Well, let me ask you a question, Artie. Artie, let me just point one. Let me put one more perspective out there. What if human beings, mankind, the smartest people on the planet, maybe they've miscalculated how old the planet is. Maybe they've also miscalculated how big this planet is.
Yeah, I believe that. Yeah, I believe the Earth's bigger than the sun and the moon.
Well, I would say that like the reason
the moon
why
and the
like
sun are the same size until you prove me otherwise.
I think you might be right. I mean, like that's the thing. Like
you weren't like that a couple weeks ago, but hey.
No, I wasn't because you didn't think I was paying attention.
Yeah, and I called Wes and we had a little, anyway. But just to think about it. That's all I asked you to think about it. That's all I think about it. Let's just think about it.
Well, listen, I'm aware that there's a possibility that could be the case.
That's all I'm saying. It's a possibility. That's all.
That's right. You got to be open-minded. I think you got to, unless you can stand on.
Especially because of 20 years from now, people are going to be saying something totally different than when we lived of what was going on in this country. You might get an ICE story like, oh, ICE was the Gestapo. Like literally the things that happen now, people are in the news or in history are saying completely different. It's like what people, who knows 100 years from now, they might think COVID was like the Black Plague. Who knows? Right? I wouldn't be surprised if it got portrayed that, oh, this huge pandemic. And come on, I had COVID. I mean, I was in bed for a day or two.
History is written by the victors. You know what I'm saying? So that's it.
It's hard for me to accept anything. And your predecessor, TJ, he was big on certain things with the Holocaust and stuff. Again, I'm not saying it's one way or the other, but I would be open to it. 9/11, I would never have thought it was an inside job or anything. I would have laughed at you, but I would be open to it. I'm not saying it is, but Building 7, there's a
Oh, I
lots
gotta
of things
tell you,
out there, and I
so
don't want to
funny.
go
Like
all that.
in,
I'm just saying
in
there's a lot of things
2012,
out there.
in
Greggy, you
2012, I
there
would have
too?
never thought. In 2012, I would have never thought it was possible that our government could do something like that, and
Or
like
cover it up or anything like that.
right or anything like that. But
When we were bombing Iraq, I was all for it. I mean, if you look at the approval rating for was it Bush? It was like the highest a president's ever been in the history of this country.
yep,
Right, Greg?
yep.
It wasn't. It was like you had everybody in Congress voting together on that. So
And just like
Greg,
everyone was for us to go into World War II after Pearl Harbor.
And there's some suspect about what happened there. They say that they
Absolutely.
were tipped off. Now, I wouldn't have believed any of this stuff until Trump. It opened my eyes. Now, you could hate on the guy or what, but that man has took a lot of arrows. Just think if you had everybody against you, it would take one special human being to rise from that. He knows finance. He knows these people. He's played both sides of the coin. And I think he's just one of those lucky guys who can understand. He knows all the stuff with the trade deals and stuff. He knows how these people are and stuff. He's just in a unique and he was in the media. He had his own TV show. He knows how that works. He's just a weird guy who's been involved in all these things where all these avenues are coming at him, and he just has a lot of. And I'm sure Pastor Benny would agree. I don't think Greg Hugh would agree, but I believe he's been chosen. God has helped this man, and it strengthened my faith watching him in his ordeal. When people tell me that, oh my God, nobody believed Jesus, they voted for Barabbas. How could the people believe that Barabbas was, kill Jesus, save, the rapist guy or whatever, save his life? Like I never would have thought that. Like that to me was like mythology until.
But you're not.
Trump
you're not equating Trump with Jesus. I right.
no,
I said exactly what I said. If you
No.
want to re-listen to what I said, it's given me stronger faith. A lot of the parallels are there, unless you're blind to it. And I could go an hour about it.
Trump has an armor of integrity that is impenetrable. Like he does what he does what he wants, and he does and what he says he does. And that's what he does. And he don't care. He don't care if you like it. He don't care. He knows what's good for everybody. And honestly, like I feel like I don't want to sound like a sycophant, but I would say 80% of the time he's right. And when all the smoke clears, 80% of the time he's right. 20% of the time he's a fucking blowhard. I got it, but that's he's a New York guy. He's a salesman. He's an entrepreneur. He's not a groomed politician who plays both sides of the fence to get votes.
And wait, one thing. All right, hold up real quick, and then I want to go to Pastor Benny. Do you know the story with Trump? We'll go off George Washington and the bulletproof president. Do you know the story about George Washington? Greg Hugh, with the bulletproof.
I've never heard. I mean, I've heard that he's been on his horse in many battles, and bullets went through his coat and went through his hat. And yes,
Ben Carson tells the story of this, like 13 sharpshooters for the Indians all shot him dead to rights, and he wanted to meet him when he became president because he could not believe that the guy lived. So again, you want to say George Washington was Jesus too? I'm just saying that all things go through God, His will, and for him to get to a bullet just grazed his ear. I mean, come on, you don't think that was miraculous? Him surviving that shot? You shoot, right?
I've actually, and recently, I've really have some questions about that whole thing. I don't know if you've seen some of the new camera angles, but there's some questions there.
So, what do you think? He had someone shoot him purpose? You think Trump kind of?
No, I don't. I don't know.
We can go there next episode.
Nobody took a sharpshooter and just shot him in the ear on purpose. I'll tell you that much. No one would fucking do that. He either faked it altogether or he actually got shot.
No. He actually got shot at. And it was the Iranian.
Come on.
He was shot at. He was shot at. He was shot.
Do you think Trump's ordained by God? You there, Pastor Benny?
Yeah, he has to be ordained by God. Yes,
100%.
Because otherwise, nobody can pull this off for this long, and not trample so much opposition and so much hatred against him. But he has to have like a clear conscience where he puts America number one. And I think that's what keeps him going. Otherwise, he has no interest. Uh, like he doesn't win personally by doing all these things. Nobody even cares for all the things that he does, but somehow he keeps going because he, in his mind, America is number one. So he has all the reasons to keep going. So I enjoy it. That's why I keep saying third term for him.
Like Pastor Benny told a story around Easter time about when Jesus came into Jerusalem, he came on the foal of a donkey,
Yes.
right?
Yes. Yes.
Trump, you want to give the story about that? The foal of a donkey means he's very low, like to the people. He wasn't
Yeah.
high on his ass like a big king anointed to have these chariots. He came
Yeah.
so low. And Trump literally, right before this last election, was driving a garbage truck. So if you can't see the power, I mean, again, you have to look for it. You have, again, there's so many things. If you right, Pastor Benny, the
Yeah.
whole garbage truck thing, and I mean, that to me, when I
McDonald's.
heard that and the foil story, I was like, wow, look at that. Right before the election, the guy's literally driving a garbage truck.
Yeah.
And he definitely goes down to the people.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, we're all 50 years old. We all know that politicians are full of shit. Every politician tells you what you want to hear, and when they get in the office, it's the uniparty. I never in my life ever thought I would go to a rally or not me, watch a political rally where the people would actually scream, "I love you" to the person running. You can say it's culty, you can say whatever you want, but that's the facts. They're literally telling this guy they love him, and he is a politician. So that's unheard of. That's miraculous in itself to me that people would act like. I remember as a child. Remember, I don't know if Wes was around. Remember when the Pope went to Yankee Stadium?
Oh my God, forget about
And
it.
that's
The
that
lines
thing.
were, oh,
That's how Trump's rallies are.
that's
People will just be
exactly
like
how
that.
Trump was. Yep, absolutely.
And I told Greg Hugh when we first started getting to Trump, I said Trump to me is a polished version of who? Do you remember who I said, Greg Hugh?
No.
George Steinbrenner. I said he's basically
Oh, that's
George
right. That's
Steinbrenner.
right.
Right? And I know Wes loves George Steinbrenner. He got
I
fired
love
from George Steinbrenner.
Steinbrenner.
George Steinbrenner, you hate him if he's not your owner, but he's the greatest owner that ever lived. There is no man who was more hands-on.
If he's
And
your
Donald
owner,
Trump is a clone of George Steinbrenner, except he's
if
more
he's
political.
if he's your owner,
diplomatic.
if he's your owner, you love him.
Right? And would you say Trump is cut from the same cloth? Identical.
Oh my God, 100%.
Yeah, they didn't catch it, they didn't get it, whatever. I was just like, I know you're a Yankee
love
fan, right? If
I
you think
love it.
about it, he's exactly like George Steinbrenner.
It's exactly
to the
like
T.
George Steinbrenner. I love it. He's a
Except
blowhard.
Yeah.
He's a blowhard who makes it happen. I love it.
Steinbrenner would literally fight the guys in the elevator, right? Remember, he broke his arm fighting, and then Trump's yelling, "Fight, fight, fight!" with blood going down his thing. I mean, the parallels. Like I don't believe in coincidences at this stage in my life. I've seen too much.
I don't attach any salvific value to Trump, but other than that, he's emulating Jesus as much as he can, and I think it is drawing attention because, like now, he wants to dedicate the country back to God, and he wants to. I think in the month of May 17th, everybody's going to pray. So it's called for a day of prayer. So that is fantastic. I've never when I came from India to here. I thought America is the most Christian country ever, but turns out no, it's not. Now he's bringing it back to God. Hey, that is powerful.
Did you guys happen to see when he was asked on the plane something about going to heaven, and he's like, I probably won't make it into heaven.
Yeah,
did you happen to
that? And that's his humility.
Hey, nobody's perfect. Nobody's perfect.
Look,
Only God's perfect.
I'll say this.
Only God's perfect.
I'll
say he doesn't
this.
think he qualifies.
Well,
nobody qualifies. That's what
nobody.
Bible is.
That's
nobody
right. Not everybody qualifies. That's right.
Yeah,
and that's another thing, Greg Hugh, about that we can get into about the whole Jesus thing, accepting him. I know you've mentioned to me about that. We can go down that route because I think we're all broken.
Yes.
And until we realize that and that we need Jesus, nothing happens. You're not just by birth, I'm sorry, Pastor, go.
Even if Trump makes the United States the best country in the world, number one, America is number one, nobody can beat us for next 100 years. Still, that does not qualify him to go to heaven because humans are always sinners at core. unless the Savior comes and changes their destination, they're stuck. So that's why there's a need for Jesus to come to the earth to save the world. That's the gospel message.
In Jesus' name we pray. So put us out. Can you take us out now, Pastor Benny? I
Yes,
think it's a perfect time.
Heavenly Father, we thank you for this day. It's fantastic that I can hang out with my friends, talk politics, and learn politics, and help us to pay attention to what's going around the world. Lord, I pray for everyone for this weekend. Let them have great time with their spouses, oh Lord, so that they can have stronger, greater families. I also pray for the accident that our friend Wes witnessed. I pray for whoever was in that accident. Let them experience your power, your love, and your presence in the hospital, on the way to the hospital, or nobody should be injured at all. Let your grace fall over all those things, oh God. Lord, I pray for our country. You be with us every step of the way. Lead us, guide us, and keep us strong. In Jesus' great name we pray. Amen.
Thank you. We are the
Amen.
Four Discoursmen.
Thank you.
Amen.
Thank you. Amen.
Wesley, Greg Hugh, Pastor Benny, and me, Artie, the one-man party. Thanks for your time, energy, and of course, attention.